Hi guys, Pat1979 here. I'm going to bring to you today a little review on my WLtoys V212. So this is one of the best quadcopter out there for the money, and I'm going to talk to you guys about what are the features on it and what makes it one of the best quadcopters out there. So let me start off by saying when it came out of the box, it came in it's not the original packaging, it's just the packaging that it comes with from Banggood. So it's a resized packaging, so they put it in their own, styrofoam box, and they box it in, so it's a little bit smaller for shipping and stuff like that. So this is where I got this from Banggood. I paid $49 for it with the remote control, so a pretty good deal for the money. And this thing is tough as nails. This thing is tough. It's a really it's built like a tank. So one of the things that got me a little worried about the beginning is that one of the LED lights on it, let me just plug it in, show you guys what the LED looks like. So one of the LED strips, I think it's the one that was flashing like that, the connectors on it wasn't soldered properly, so it wasn't working. If you fiddle around with the connectors, you can see the one that I made a repair on it. So this is just some, a hot glue so that I put on there. So, but anyways, the LED strips are nice, but there's a couple of things I like about it. There's a couple of things I don't like about it. The 6-axis gyro is really great. You can. This is one of the only types of quadcopters that I know of that you can just throw it upside down in the air. Just put the gas when you throw it on in the air, and it just will flip back and just restabilize itself. So this is great for that. You just toss it out in midair, and it just find the right angle and just put itself back on the exact spot. So this is the range on it. Also, I'm gonna try to keep this review a little short and sweet because the one on my Syma got a little long. So, but the range on this quadcopter compared to my Syma X1 is a little bit better. You got almost 3 times the range, I would say, on that controller. But the thing is, it still suffers from the same interference I talked about on my Syma X1 review. When you got a cell phone tower close by, or any communication tower, I don't know why, but the range is really limited. It's like, I don't know, 10-20 meters, depending if you're directly in line of sight with the tower. And what the quadcopter is gonna do is just gonna fly normal, and then poof, it's gonna cut power and fall on the ground. So if it's like that, it's gonna fall like that, and vice versa, depending on what you're doing. The quadcopter is just gonna fall on the ground and boom, just gonna land on the booms right there. So, or on the props. So as you guys can see, there's a couple of little scuff marks on the blade. I don't know if you guys can tell with this, but if you look at this one right here, you can see a little bit of white in there. So I've made a flip and I've landed on the ground on cement, and the propeller was bent. That propeller right here was bent 90 degrees. So the propeller was up in the air like that, 90 degrees. So I just bend it back, and it seems to fly just fine. This thing is tough. You can thrash it, bash it around, and it's gonna take a lot harder to break. It's gonna need a lot to break compared to other quadcopters. And I think compared to direct drive, what I mean by that is the smallest one. Let me show you guys one of mine. I got it on the table right here. Compared to one of those, this is a WLtoys V202. This one is direct drive, directly on the propeller. So one of the things that I don't like about that one is when you impact, it's impacting the shaft directly on the propellers. So I like this one. This is one of my favorite quads because it's small, it's maneuverable. This thing is it says speedy on the original canopy, so this thing is definitely speedy, and it's responsive, quick. This is by far the best micro-size quad that I've ever tried, but that's gonna be probably for another review. So, but and I still need to repair one of the engine on it. So once I'm getting up to it, I just ordered it. I received the engine. So, but going on, moving on. So this one is a little stronger, I think, because the motors are not affected directly when you impact. The motor is there's that motor here. It's made it to a gear, and there's a brass pinion on the motor, and there's a plastic pinion on it. So nylon pinion, or some kind of plastic. But I think this is one of the best way to prevent crashes and to absorb impact, because the motor itself, if it's gonna run out, it's because the motor is gonna burn out instead of suffering from crash impact. So for crash impact, I think this is one of the best way to protect the motors. So this is a little bit bigger size for a quad, but it's still indoors friendly, and you can still fly it outdoors pretty nicely too. I don't know if you guys can tell, but the canopy here, I needed to melt it off, because at some part of the canopy I needed to use my just my lighter and just melt some parts of the canopy, because it wasn't matching properly the quads. So a couple little minor things, Here's the controller on it. The controller is pretty good. I like the fact that you have 5 different channels, or 5 different you can select from. Let me plug it in and let me show you guys what I mean by that. Just gonna plug it in quick like that. Let it do a little synchro, match it up, and I don't know if you guys can tell here. I'm gonna try to find an angle that you guys can see. Like that. So if you guys can see, I can switch it up from 20 to 40 to 60 to 80 and 100%. But the thing is, when you go 100%, as soon as you bang the sticks here, it's gonna flip automatically. If you're up in the air, you bang the stick, it's gonna flip. So if you go slowly, you might not flip it, but you really need to go slowly. So if you're doing a maneuver, but you can't just go forward and backwards and and then do a flip. It doesn't work like that. So that's why I prefer the syma for the flip button on it. So you just press the flip button, and then you can flip any which way you want. So that's the best for me. The best way is that little flip button on top. If that one had the flip button, it would be 10 out of 10. It will be the best quadcopter out there. But that little button here, what it does is it just kills the light. So in my opinion, not really useful to just kill the lights like that, because the lights is something that you could put a manual switch on it. If it's nighttime, you want to fly with lights, you just flip the switch, then you get the lights on, and you keep that button for the flip button aspect part of it. Or you just take a controller, you just add more buttons, and you put more buttons on it. But overall, this is a great quadcopter. The range is really nice, about 3 times the one of my syma X1, sorry, about twice the range, and really great. This is the original batteries that it comes with. Not bad batteries, a little bit expensive for what you get. This is 500 milliamp, 3.7 volt. They don't say how much C it's rated. So these are the original, and what I found is that you can order from Hobby King the Turnigy Nanotech 600 milliamp batteries, and they fit in there. They fit snug, but they fit in there. So, and the wiring is just perfect. It's just the exact same wiring right out of the box of the from the controllers, as you guys can see. It's the exact same wiring. So so you don't have to change the wiring on the batteries out of the box. So that's what's fun about it. And these are 35 to 70 Cs. I don't know if that's the exact, but they give way more punch, and they got a little bit more longer flight time on it. So I would strongly recommend, especially for the price. I think they're around $2 or $3, even less. So I would strongly suggest getting the Turnigy Nanotech for your WLtoys V212. Oh, the copter's still plugged in. There you go. For your quadcopters, I ordered just about 4 or 5 of these batteries, and I find myself putting these one on more than the original one. So and the original ones are like $3 or $4, so a little bit more expensive than the Turnigy, and you get more power and more flight time. You might have to fiddle around while putting in there. As you guys can see, there's a little bit of they're a little bit longer, they're a little bit more distance, and you know, they fit snug. Yeah, really got to push to get them out, but you know, they still fit in there. If you fiddle around a little bit with it, they're still gonna fit in there pretty good, and it's not gonna move while you're gonna be in flight. So that's the good thing about it. And like I said, they last longer, they pack more of a punch. So overall, for the money, right now, for that size of quad, about the size of the Syma X1, this is probably one of the best quadcopter you can find out there. If you're used to flying the Syma X1, you're gonna have to get used to the 6-axis gyro, because it's self-leveling. So meaning that when you go forward, the quadcopter, you let go of the stick, the quadcopter wants to come back neutral, you know, every time. You don't have to pull back, you know, you just let go of the sticks, and the quadcopter is going to level itself back to the original position. So one of the things I noticed though is when you fly it and when you're flipping it or you're doing a couple of stunts with it, sometimes the gyros are fighting each other. So sometimes I find myself doing a flip and trying to recuperate, giving it gas, and the quadcopter is going to go all the way to the ground before it gets power back, so then it comes back up. That's one of the only small details I've noticed. It comes with 4 extra props, and that's pretty much it. So hope you guys enjoyed this little review of the WLtoys V212, and I guess I'll see you guys later. Don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe. Thank you.